Well, one could say I've taken an unexpected journey to the Shire where the hobbits live. And guys, I'm so excited to be here. I mean, look at it. Look at it. And you know what? It looks just as good inside too. And I can't wait to show you. I can't wait to spend the entire week with you in the Shire House, reading The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. But I will get to all of that very, very soon. It's absolutely freezing out here. So why don't we get inside, get ourselves all warm, and I will show you around. Let's go. Today's video challenge will be to read The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings trilogy by J.R.R. Tolkien in 5 nights. So not exactly a week, but near enough. And I mean, not like this is easy to read or anything, but I will say that this is a reread. So I have already read all of these, but it has been a long time since I read them, so I've forgotten the majority of the books. I do love the movies. I just did a Patreon watch along for all of the Lord of the Rings films extended. So I've refamiliarized myself with the movies, but I'm very excited to dive into the books and rediscover why I loved them in the first place. And it's only 1,338 pages, so it's very doable. I will listen to the audiobooks as well, and they are narrated by Andy Serkis, who portrayed Gollum in the films. Never listened to the audiobooks before, but everyone tells me how fantastic they are. So yeah, I'm really excited. And because I'm very extra and I can't just do a reading challenge, I had to get my ass to Middle Earth in order to reside in the Shire for a week, live as a hobbit, and give these a read. Before I continue as well, this video will be filled with spoilers, so if you have not yet read The Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit and you don't want to be spoiled, maybe come back to this video. But before you leave, make sure you give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm going to cozy down. I'm going to start off with The Hobbit, so I hope you cozy down with me and enjoy the video. They've also left the ring. The one ring to rule them all. I don't know how many people have put this on in the past, but we're just going to go for it. If you know me at all, you will know that I will never leave the house without my trusty coffee machine. I literally cannot go an entire day without coffee. And what the hell am I supposed to do with this? So in classic Gavin fashion, before I sit down to read The Hobbit, my first book of the vlog, I thought I would make myself a nice hot cozy coffee. They have some fantastic mugs and cups, and they have some like amazing looking goblets and things, which I will show you later. Even though it's like 6 p.m. now, I'm clamoring for a coffee. We'll double shot it. I've been here 2 hours and I already love it here. I want to stay forever. So if I had my own coffee shop in the Shire, what would I call it? Coffee on bag end? Tea baggins? Yeah, tea baggins. That's going to be my nice little like tea house and coffee shop. I could not have done a full week here without a single drop of coffee. I'd sooner bag end my life. The Wi-Fi isn't great, but I'm not surprised considering like we're in the middle of nowhere. Got the nice coffee in there. Got my frothy milk in there. Can you imagine being served by me in my coffee shop tea baggins? Oh, you know what? I might have napkins and little gift bags that people can take with them with something like "You've been teabagged" written on it. Just as a sort of memento of their visit. See, that looks absolutely lush. We'll add some chocolate sprinkles. Oh, just get it on. And there we go. There's a tea bagged cappuccino. A drink to that. Cheers. Oh wait, it's too hot.
Chapter 1. An Unexpected Party. In a hole in the ground, there lived a hobbit.
It's currently 10 p.m. on my first night here, and I'm so happy to be here. It's so magical. Just being able to immerse myself in the Middle-earth world with The Hobbit to begin with. It's just, if you ever read any book by J.R.R. Tolkien, read it here. So I'm halfway through The Hobbit, I'm on page 174, but there's nothing better than sitting in a Hobbit house with Andy Serkis's narration in my ears, while my eyeballs are soaking in the amazing words from Tolkien himself. Just everything together, I'm just like, ah! So The Hobbit is mainly written for children, and you can tell, especially with the narration style, so many instances of the fourth wall being broken, and so many times the narrator is talking to us, the reader, and honestly, it's so charming. And even though it's to like a different, I guess, standard to the later Lord of the Rings trilogy, there is still so much magic and whimsy just coming from the book, and also terror. I've actually been scared a couple of times. Starting from the beginning though, like how cozy and amazing does it make you feel straight away with the descriptions of the Shire House. And just the first line is so good. In a hole in the ground there lived a hobbit. That's just so iconic. It was a hobbit hole and that means comfort. I'm literally in a hobbit hole right now and I'm so comfortable. It's so warm. Despite it being -3 degrees Celsius right now, it's actually so warm. The grass above me must be keeping in all of the heat. It had a perfectly round door like a porthole, painted green with a shiny yellow brass knob in the exact middle. Almost the same as the door that's just there. And the way this adventure starts with Bilbo in the Shire and Gandalf coming, I'm looking for someone to share in an adventure that I am arranging, and it's very difficult to find anyone. And like, Bilbo doesn't even want to go on this adventure. He does not want anything to do with it. He just wants his home comforts, as we all do, and to just like stay out of trouble. But I just love the way that he kind of just doesn't even ask for it. And then suddenly there are so many dwarves who end up coming to his house. That's like the start of our adventure. I love how quick it is too. Chapter 1, we meet all of the characters. They're going off on their journey. In chapter 2, we have these terrifying trolls. You know, we are just going from story beat to story beat to story beat. And it's just so engaging, so fast paced. But to have a protagonist like Bilbo Baggins who is saying, sorry, I don't want any adventures, thank you, to then going on an adventure It's kind of comical. You know what? This is funnier than I remembered. The way that all of the dwarves come, I'm never going to remember all of their names either. But I love how simple their names are, I guess. There's a lot of alliteration. There's a lot of rhyming words. Dory, Nori, Ori, Owen, Glowin, Philly, Killy, Bomber, Bilfer, Borfer, Dwalin, Barlin, Thorin. It's like, I'm never gonna remember any of these people. I kind of remember some of them from the movies, but mainly because of like the actor more so than the character themselves. It wasn't Richard Armitage, Thorin. Oof. He can be the Lord of my Ring any day. But so far, I think the only, I guess, downside really is that I don't think we really get a sense of individuality with many of these dwarfs. A lot of them just feel like they are there, and that's fine, honestly, but it's like such a big cast of characters. It is hard for even me as an adult to wrap my head around everyone. But you know, that's just the smallest of criticisms, because I just freaking love the story so much. It's so well written. The narration by Andy Serkis is absolutely fan-fucking-tastic. Oh my gosh, when we get to the chapter called Riddles in the Dark, where we meet Gollum, I feel like you can hear a little bit of glee in Andy Serkis's voice when he introduces Gollum. Deep down here by the dark water lived old Gollum, a small slimy creature. He was looking out of his pale lamp-like eyes for blind fish, which he grabbed with his long fingers as quick as thinking. And then he talks, and I'm just like, that's his voice. That is Andy Serkis, that is Gollum. You know, it's so good. Seriously, if you're going to read The Hobbit, please do it in tandem with the audiobook. I just think it doesn't beat any kind of reading experience than having Andy Serkis read this to you. But you know, I am still reading physically. I don't want to take my eyes off the page. I want to be fully immersed. Like, somebody could be breaking in, ready to murder me, and I wouldn't know about it because I'm in Middle Earth. And you know what? This is surprisingly detailed too. Even though I think you get way better descriptions of things in The Lord of the Rings, you still get so many great passages of description that really does broaden your mind and make you think of the most magical and wonderful of settings. They came on unexpected valleys, narrow with steep sides that opened suddenly at their feet, and they looked down surprised to see trees below them and running water at the bottom. There were gullies that they could almost leap over, but very deep with waterfalls in them. There were dark ravines that one could neither jump over nor climb into. There were bogs, some of them green, pleasant places to look at, with flowers growing bright and tall, but a pony that walked there with a pack on its back would never have come out again. Like, it's so beautiful. I think J.R.R. Tolkien's writing is very lyrical, and I'm not usually a big fan of the songs, and there have been a few of them, but there was one about the Misty Mountains that the dwarves sing when they're at Bilbo's house, and honestly, it's a banger. It is an absolute banger. Having Andy Serkis sing that part to you, oh my gosh, what a tune. I love the scene with the trolls. I haven't seen the Hobbit movies since they came out, I think. I do own all the extended editions, never watched them. I'm planning on doing some Patreon watch-alongs for the Hobbit extended editions, like I did with the Lord of the Rings ones in February, so I'm really excited for those. But that will be a refresher of the movies for me. But I can kind of vaguely recall the troll scene and some of the scenes. A lot of it is coming back to me. This is a reread of the book too, but I can't remember when I read the book. It must have been years and years and years ago. Oh, I wasn't even done finished talking about the Gollum scene, sorry. This review is all over the place. But to see the ring that ends up becoming the focal point of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, it isn't really focused on too much. It just seems cool. Like, it doesn't seem that important. It seems important to Gollum because when he loses it, he goes batshit. But Bilbo just takes it and leaves with it, and that seems to be pretty much it. But I love the description of it too. He wanted it because it was a ring of power, and if you slip that ring on your finger, you're invisible. Only in the full sunlight could you be seen, and then only by your shadow, and that would be shaky and faint. But who knows how Gollum came by that present ages ago in the old days when such rings were still at large in the world. I actually don't know if it's explained in the books, but at the very start of the third movie, The Return of the King, you see Gollum kill his... was it his cousin or his best friend? I think it was his cousin. Kills his cousin for the ring. So I wonder if Tolkien hadn't exactly come up with a backstory just yet for it as he wrote this. But yeah, so many great scenes, some scary scenes too. The last chapter I just read was Flies and Spiders, and the dwarves and Bilbo are in Mirkwood. Gandalf has left them, and yeah, they already get lost, and it feels really terrifying and dark. And I just feel like this is a children's story. When it was Bilbo's turn, he would see gleams in the darkness around them, and sometimes pairs of yellow or red or green eyes would stare at him from a little distance. And then a little bit further down the page, they tried lighting watchfires at night, but they soon gave that up. It seemed to bring hundreds and hundreds of eyes all around them. Like, that's terrifying. I'm sorry, but I didn't realise I was reading a horror. And then the spiders come, and it's terrifying. Like, spiders do scare me. I am a little bit arachnophobic. But this moment in the book where Bilbo, he turns himself invisible, he has his little sword, which he's called Sting, which they did get from a cave a little bit earlier on. And the character development, somehow the killing of the giant spider all alone by himself in the dark without the help of the wizard or the dwarves or of anyone else made a great difference to Mr. Baggins. He felt a different person and much fiercer and bolder in spite of an empty stomach as he wiped his sword on the grass and put it back into its sheath. I will give you a name, he said to it, and I shall call you Sting. Oh! Like, it's so epic. I love the fact that Bilbo was this really scared character to begin with, and now he actually seems to crave that adventure. Like, if it wasn't for him, then the dwarves wouldn't have been saved from all of these spiders. In seeing how they are becoming friends with one another too, some of them even got up and bowed right to the ground before him, though they fell over with the effort. In fact, they praised him so much that Bilbo began to feel that there really was something of a bold adventure about himself after all. Ugh, I feel proud. I feel so proud. Even though I already know all the story and stuff, I feel so proud. The illustrations by Alan Lee, I absolutely adore as well. There have been quite a few dotted around in quite a few per chapter, and the chapters are very long, so that doesn't really say too much, I guess. But there have been like enough illustrations. Sometimes you get an illustrated edition of something and it has like 5 illustrations throughout. This one has had quite a nice serving of illustrations. Also, I think the elves are a little bit homophobic. In the chapter A Short Rest, they hear a burst of song like laughter in the trees. Oh, what are you seeking and where are you making? The F words are reeking. You know, the word that rhymes with maggots. I felt personally attacked. But I'm like, literally, I went in the shower before I came. Oh, I meant bundle of sticks or cigarette. Actually, the cigarette makes sense because that's where a lot of people where I live, that's what they call cigarettes. They call them FAGS. So I think it's the smoke. I think it must be the... That's reeking, not me, thank God. So because I am just over halfway, I'll get back to this. I will most likely finish it around about midnight tonight, which I think is the perfect way to start our Shire adventure by finishing our first book on the first night. I almost wasn't going to include The Hobbit with this reading vlog. I was just going to focus on The Lord of the Rings, but I'm really glad I ended up shoehorning this in. And it is now 1 AM. I didn't finish it by midnight as I thought, but I am still so glad that I managed to finish this on my first night here. So I still have 4 more nights to read 3 more books. Even though I'm a little bit worried that I might not read through all of them by the end of this vlog challenge, I'm still going to give it a good go. And I did really enjoy this one. It's not perfect by any means. It still held my attention till the very end. A lot of exciting things happened. We did manage to get to the Lonely Mountain. We managed to meet Smaug, which was actually so exciting. The scene between Bilbo and Smaug, ooh, chills. And the way that Andy Serkis narrates Smaug, like his voice doing that was chilling, absolutely chilling. And this would have been probably a 5-star, but some things do end abruptly by the end of this. 2 things that I thought could have maybe been embellished a little bit, but I don't know if maybe the filmmakers of the Hobbit movies kind of took that and went a little bit overboard, because I don't think the movies deserved 3 movies. I think it should have just been 1 or maybe 2 at a stretch. But like, say the death of Smaug I thought was too quick, and the fact that our dwarves and Bilbo Baggins didn't even have like a hand in that really turned out to be Bod, who was it Luke Evans who played his character in the films? It really has been way too long. And also the Battle of the 5 Armies, which again, there was an entire 3rd movie for it, which was so unnecessary. And even that too. But you know what? I'm still not going to hold it against the book too much, because yeah, this book was written for children, or at least it was supposed to be written as a children's book. So it's obviously not as embellished as the upcoming battles that we get in The Lord of the Rings. But you know what's still so good, still so exciting. So you know that whole conversation between Bilbo and Smaug, where they're actually conversing with one another. You know, Bilbo did steal something from him earlier, but he's come back. And yeah, just that whole conversation, Bilbo's so smart that he doesn't tell Smaug exactly who he is, but he doesn't outright refuse his question, because that would just be rude to a dragon. You don't piss off a dragon. And it does end up getting a little bit dark. Thorin dies, but also Fili and Kili. Of the 12 companions of Thorin, 10 remained. Fili and Kili had fallen defending him with shield and body, for he was their mother's elder brother. So 3 of our adventurers of the 14 that we set out with at the start of The Hobbit died. And I'm like, ugh, that's just so sad. Not that I was really connected to the characters. Thorin was, you know, very unlikable, but I could still understand his drive and motivation as a character and trying to get back the treasure that was owed to the dwarves, treasure that was stolen from Smaug. So I totally understand like a lot of the things, but he's not really someone I really warmed to by the end of it. But I was still sad that he ended up dying, and you know, right in front of Bilbo as well, he bids him farewell and dies. But yeah, to hear about Philly and Killy too, even though again we didn't really get to bond with them, I'm sure Bilbo did. I'm sure Bilbo bonded with them. They were on the road for a long time. You know, in terms of the story that I read, it just didn't really feel like I gelled with the characters as much as I wanted to. But still an absolutely fantastic book. It's so filled with imagination. I cannot recommend Tolkien enough. And good way to start as well, because I know the only way is up with the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And I'm just so thankful and happy that I did end up bringing this along on my Hobbit adventure, because it would have felt like a disservice to come to the Shire House and not read The Hobbit. But I'm so hoping that I get The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and The Return of the King all read by the end of this visit. And if not, I have The Hobbit to blame. So yeah, it's now like 1:15 a.m. and I am ready for bed. I'm so tired. I barely got any sleep last night because I was just so excited to come. So I'm tired. I will bid you good night and I will see you in the morning. Good morning. It is really dark in here. I apologize. It's probably going to be dark throughout this entire video. There's only a few windows and they are stained glass and they don't really let in a whole lot of sunlight. So unless I keep the front door wide open, and I'm not going to do that because it's freezing cold, we're just going to have mood lighting throughout this. So I want to explore the area a little bit. The place I'm staying at is called North Shire. It's essentially a farm, so I might run into some barnyard animals as I'm walking around, but they have other sort of replica places to stay. So the groundkeeper's cottage from Harry Potter is just right next to the Shire House here. There's also like some storybook cottages and some other things. I can't get on the internet, for one. I'm using mainly my 4G, but it's draining my battery dry because even that's struggling to pick up a signal. And the Wi-Fi, I'm just like, I tried to eat my breakfast with a YouTube video because I hate eating in silence, but I couldn't get YouTube to load at all. And I'm kind of gutted because I would have loved to have done some Shire reading sprints or something, but I just can't seem to really get on the internet. It's a good thing because I don't want to be on my phone this entire trip, but I kind of don't like the idea that I'm unable to access the internet, especially since I don't drive. So my sister dropped me off yesterday and like I've got nowhere else to go. Like I'm stuck here until she comes and picks me up on Saturday morning. And this is also self-catering too. So I do have a fridge full of stuff, but I'm a little bit worried and concerned that I might run out of food by Saturday morning. I couldn't ask anyone anything yesterday because it is self-check-in as well. So they just left the key in the Shire House door. And when I came in yesterday afternoon, there was no one here. There was absolutely no one here. There is a reception, but that was closed. I didn't see anybody staying in any of the other places that are here. So there was just not a soul in sight. So I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna, you know, see if there is someone around. I want to say if there's like maybe a little tea shop or something. I know there is one like a 40-minute walk away, but you know, there's a highway in stuff and I just don't really want to risk that. But you know, it's nice and warm in here, so if I do have to spend literally the entire week in here and not really leave it very much, all good. But I'm just kind of like, yeah, I kind of want to explore, but there's not really much else to say. But I will still take you on the journey with me. I might make myself another coffee before I head out. Actually, no. I want to see if there's any coffee available. Maybe in reception there is like a little tea room. I hope so. I really do hope so. I should have researched better before I came. But I will be starting the Fellowship of the Ring today. And hopefully I can get the majority of it read. This is the longest book out of all of them because it was split into 3 and this one comes to 407 pages. So I feel like once we make really good progress with this, it's easy sailing from there. So let's just see what kind of day today brings. There is not a single person around. Not a single soul. And I don't think anyone is staying in anything else here either. And I've just like went around and I think all of them are empty. Oh my gosh, it's starting to snow. It is so magical though. I am loving being here, but I do feel a little isolated. Again, it looks like reception is closed. It doesn't look like there's anyone there. Oh my god, the snow's coming down so nicely now too. I don't think you'll be able to see it right now, but oh my god. It also doesn't look like there are any barnyard animals outside right now either. I wonder if it's because it is too cold to have them just roaming around. But I have seen videos and pictures of people with like a peacock right outside of the Shire House door, and it like just walks around as if it owns the place. And I wanted to meet the peacock, or at least a chicken, just one.
Don't take me for some conjurer of cheap tricks.
I'm sorry, I'm taking that beard straight off. For one, this isn't mine. This was just left here. And I can imagine so many people have been wearing this every single time they visit. And I mean, the part where the mouth goes is like fucking filthy. I just had to do it for the bit.
Bilbo Baggins.
I am on page 182 of the Fellowship of the Ring. So I'm not quite halfway there. It is split into two books. So there's like a book 1 and a book 2 within the Fellowship of the Ring. And I only have like another chapter and a half to go before I finish book 1. And I was just going to wait until I finished book 1 before I update you. But I really want some cocktails right now. Don't know about you. Not going to lie, I still feel a little bit nauseous after wearing that beard thing. Oh. But I am absolutely loving the Fellowship of the Ring so far. Yeah, it's a reread, but you know when it's been so long that you can really not remember all that much? That's me right now. And I did read the foreword. That was very interesting. Oh my gosh, like just hearing about J.R. Tolkien and his way of writing this book and the journey he went on in order to write this book is really awe-inspiring actually. And I just love how real it feels. You know, J.R. Tolkien is really good at making things feel real because he adds in so much history and he makes the history sound like it actually happened. And something I don't usually like in books is when we get a recap of previous books. And there is a whole section on The Hobbit, which, you know, I just read. But the way that J.R. Tolkien recaps it, he does make it sound like it's something that actually happened. And there were things in the text as well that was kind of challenged because Bilbo Baggins does write There and Back Again, which is his recounting of the adventure he went on. But in the world of Middle Earth, it's an autobiography, essentially. It is a real life account, with some exaggerations, of course. But it didn't feel like a recap in this. It felt necessary. And I really do love the fact that we go back to Bilbo Baggins at the very start of this book before we transition into Frodo. It's not like we just get a totally new character out of nowhere. I mean, if you've read The Hobbit first and then go into The Lord of the Rings, I imagine a lot of people just skip The Hobbit for some reason. But it actually did feel like a handing down of an adventure. The way that those two are like intricately linked, Bilbo and Frodo, not just because of their birthday being on the same day, September 22nd, but like the passing down of the ring and all of the things that transpire because he passes the ring down. I just love the beginning. I really do. We get more of the Shire, we get more about the hobbits, we meet Peregrine Took and Merry Brandybuck, although his real name is Meriadoc, which I'm just going to stick with Merry. And the fact that Frodo turns 50, you just wouldn't imagine it after Elijah Wood. You just wouldn't imagine he was 50 years old. But having Gandalf in the story too makes it that much more magical. I love the scene between Frodo and Gandalf, where Gandalf explains the ring and how the ring came about, and also the history with Gollum too. There was a lot of text about Gollum, and I just love getting the transcription of what is actually on the ring. One ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all and in the darkness bind them. This is the Master Ring, the one ring to rule them all. This is the one ring that he lost many years ago to the great weakening of his power. He greatly desires it, but he must not get it. Sauron the Great, the Dark Lord. You know, it's like one of the most perfect beginnings of an adventure, of a journey that I have read. And you know what? They're in no rush. They're in absolutely no rush. In The Hobbit, they were setting off on the adventure in the first chapter. But in this one, it takes chapters upon chapters upon chapters for Frodo to get out of there. He takes so long. And even after setting out from the Shire, they're still in the Shire for quite some time. It takes a while before they even get out of the Shire. Oh, and I've totally forgot about Tom bloody Bombadil. Oh my god, every single time he opened his mouth, I was like, for fuck's sake, yeah, we'll go again. Not that I really hate Tom Bombadil or anything, it's just like a lot of songs, and it does get annoying after a while. Old Tom Bombadil is a merry fellow, bright blue, his jacket is, and his boots are yellow. It was a fucking jump scare. Every single time he just appeared, he was singing. And he was in it a lot more than I thought, too, because when I first read it, I thought he was only in just like one chapter, but he's actually in a couple, and he does end up helping Frodo and his friends out of some sticky patches. Like with the willows. Oh my god, there were some great scenes with the willows. I love the description yet again. A golden afternoon of late sunshine lay warm and drowsy upon the hidden land between. In the midst of it there wound lazily a dark river of brown water, bordered with ancient willows, arched over with willows, blocked with fallen willows, and flecked with thousands of faded willow leaves. Oh! We have met Strider, aka Aragorn, where I pretty much got up to. I'm at the Prancing Pony, and this is where the story like really kicks off. I'm actually surprised at how much time we spend with the hobbits adventuring on their own before they even get to Aragorn. And it was kind of nice. It was nice to see them get developed a little bit more and to see the friendship between them. They really do seem to be quite close, and Merry and Pippin are very attentive of Frodo keeping secrets, and the way that they just let themselves in on this quest is just so comical but so endearing. I love them so much. Frodo, Sam, Merry and Pippin, they're just some of the best characters ever. Anyway, enough talk. Let's make a cocktail. So I did see a recipe online for a Gandalf cocktail, which included vodka, Blue Wicked, peach schnapps, and lemonade. And look at this goblet that was in the cupboard. Oh my god, it just looks so good. This is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. The only thing is though, the recipe doesn't have any measurements. So I'm kind of just winging it. So I imagine we would probably start off with the vodka. So we'll just, probably about that much. The Blue Wicked. Probably about that much. The peach schnapps. Probably about that much. And the lemonade. Probably about that much. I feel like it needs to be more blue. I don't think I have enough room in this goblet. Let's put a little bit more blue to make it more blue. Yeah, this is how it looks. I mean, it's a little bit blue, but I just thought it would be bluer. Yeah, it's really nice actually. I quite like it. Yeah, I think I got the measurements perfect. But I am going to continue on with the Fellowship of the Ring. I'm going to sit down, enjoy myself, have some more cocktails, and keep myself warm while it's still snowing outside. Okay, one of these days I'm going to eat like a hobbit. And I wanted that day to be today. But alas, I did not wake up until around about 8:30-ish. Like, have you seen the tight schedule if you want to eat like a hobbit for a day? There's breakfast at 7 a.m, second breakfast at 9 a.m, 11s is at 11 a.m, luncheon at 1 p.m, afternoon tea at 3 p.m, dinner at 6 p.m, and then supper at 9 p.m. I'm not sitting through a first breakfast. First breakfast is like my favourite part of the day. So it's Wednesday today. I've still got Thursday and Friday to attempt to wake up early enough so that I can have first breakfast at 7 a.m. I usually need around about half an hour to an hour to wake up before I want to eat. But it's going to happen. I don't know if I've got enough food for all of that, but you know, it's fine. So I still have about 50 pages left of the Fellowship of the Ring. I haven't finished it, which I'm not surprised that it is the longest one. So I read quite a lot more of it yesterday. Again, just loving the story so much. And I love the fact that there's been a couple of mentions now of 2 more characters from The Hobbit who we don't really get to see a whole lot more of, or at least I didn't really fully appreciate if they were in the film. In Rivendell we see Glowin, one of the 12 companions of the Great Thorin. It just felt like another good connection to the first book. It just feels like one big connected world. Frodo asks what has become of Balin and Ori and Owen, and Glowin says we do not know. And there's so many like threads of story that you could possibly go down. In fact, I'm sure Beren and Luthien is another book by J.R.R. Tolkien, which I do own and I do want to read, but the story is told through song in this, which I found fascinating as well. And as much as I don't really love the songs all that much, sometimes they do provide a little bit more of an outside look in this world, and you get to hear stories about other really interesting people who, yeah, I guess we find later on Tolkien has written a book about. But yeah, when Glowin also says he doesn't know what became of Balin, when we get to the Mines of Moria, that tomb, which I think is the same in the movie, but I didn't really clock on with it because they do come across a tomb, and the tomb belongs to Balin. And I love the reveal of it as well. It was at the end of chapter 4, and on the ruins it says, Balin, son of Fundin, Lord of Moria. He is dead then, said Frodo. I feared it was so. And I just love the whole section in the Mines of Moria. I honestly think this is some of the best chapters of The Lord of the Rings. Just the excitement of it. Also the fact that Smeagol, aka Gollum, has escaped imprisonment, and they're told of this during the Council of Elrond. The Council of Elrond was a very long chapter, by the way. And a lot of it was just a lot of recounting, which is fine, but it just got like really long. It wasn't until after that we really got into the heartbeat of the story. And yeah, by learning that Gollum has escaped, Frodo himself, he can hear sort of footsteps every now and then that don't correspond with the Fellowship, and the footsteps sometimes go quiet and you can't quite make out what it is. And I'm sitting here thinking, that's Gollum. And do you know how terrifying that is? A little bit later on when they're in Lothlorien, I think it was Haldir, there was something in the tree that I've never seen before, he said. It was not an orc. It fled as soon as I touched the tree stem. And it's kind of scary, the idea that this horrible, nasty little creature thing is following them without being seen. And it isn't even confirmed that it is Gollum, but the clues that Tolkien's laying down is so exciting. And can I just talk about chapter 5, The Bridge of Khazad-dûm? This was a fantastic chapter, quite possibly one of my favourite chapters of anything ever. This chapter was perfect. The cadence, the rhythm of the prose was so beautiful. It was so tense throughout, and it's the chapter that they are, you know, deep in the heart of the Mines of Moria, and they are going through. Gandalf is trying to guide them. He's not 100% sure, but he has got a clue of where he's going, and yeah, Frodo can still hear those footsteps every now and then we hear drums, and these drums are like going boom boom, and they're just kind of working into this crescendo, and the plot just picks up, and then it just gets more and more exciting, and then a Balrog comes, and the drums are still going, and there's fire. Fly, this is a 4 beyond any of you. And Gandalf realizes that this is a 4-2 grade for them. They are still so early on in their journey, even though it I think has been months since they set off from Rivendell. And that fear and tension, oh my gosh, I felt scared, even though I already know what happens in things. There is a certain joy to reading the words and hearing Andy Serkis's narration. The narrative gets fast. You cannot pass, he said. The orc stood still and a dead silence fell. I am a servant of the secret fire, wielder of the flame of Anor. You cannot pass. The dark fire will not avail you. Flame of Udin, go back to the shadow. You cannot pass. Do you know how iconic that is? It's just so iconic. I think it's It's you shall not pass in the movie, but in the book it's you cannot pass. And then we have, it's not even the end of the chapter, but like just before it, with a terrible cry the Balrog fell forward and his shadow plunged down and vanished. But even as it fell, it swung its whip, and the thongs lashed and curled around the wizard's knees, dragging him to the brink. He staggered and fell, grasped vainly at the stone, and slid into the abyss. Fly, you fools, he cried, and was gone. That's the first loss of the Fellowship. And it's just such a significant loss as well, considering how fundamental Gandalf has been in the journey so far. And you're kind of left with this really desolate, hopeless feeling. And this is the crescendo of the scene. This whole set piece in the Mines of Moria is just so epic. And we still have a couple of paragraphs left, but then we end with, they look back, dark on the archway of the gates under the mountain shadow. Faint and far beneath the earth rolled the slow drum beats. Doom. A thin black smoke trailed out. Nothing else was to be seen. The dale all around was empty. Doom. Grief at last wholly overcame them, and they wept long, some standing and silent, some cast upon the ground. Doom, doom. The drum beats faded. This whole chapter itself could have been an entire story. You have the beginning of this chapter, they're a little bit lost, they're struggling, and then you have the rise in action when they hear the drum beats and the orcs are coming and they're trying to get away from the Balrog. Then you have the climax with Gandalf and the Balrog, and then Gandalf falling into the abyss, and then you have the falling action after that. You hear the drum beats slowly starting to fade away until the end, and the drum beats have gone. It's such a great chapter. It's my favourite chapter so far. I read Lothlorien, and now I have 4 chapters left. I'm at the Mirror of Galadriel, and yeah, I only have 50 pages left, which is about an hour and a half in the audiobook. So I'm gonna make myself a coffee, listen to the end of the Fellowship of the Ring while reading along, and just soak in this glorious and really cold morning.
You shall not pass! Like the video, you fools!
I finished the first book in The Lord of the Rings, my second book in this vlog, and I'm so happy. It's still Wednesday morning, it's only 11:30, but I genuinely have nothing else to do while I'm here. So literally all I'm doing is just listening to the audiobook while reading physically. I can't even distract myself with anything else. My attention is wholly on these stories. And you know what, sometimes it is a little bit hard for me to concentrate on adult fantasy, and it is a genre that I am a little bit intimidated by. It's one that I really do want to read more of, so I do find it very intimidating. But The Lord of the Rings, it really does grab your attention. Not just your attention, but your imagination. I did finish the last few chapters of the book, and it was really nice to see Galadriel and to see how she comes across as. I also find it so interesting that Frodo has no qualms in giving the ring to other people. He literally says to Galadriel, do you want the ring? You can have it if you want. And even earlier in the story too, when he gives it to Tom Bombadil, it's like for a long time Frodo doesn't really quite grasp the fact that he is the one who needs to keep it and not give it to anyone else. In fact, I think it's his encounter with Boromir by the end of this book that really puts him in that mindset where he has to keep the ring and he is the one who has to take it to Mordor. So even though it's kind of heartbreaking to see that scene between Frodo and Boromir, I feel like it was so needed in order to wake Frodo up, especially when you say how badly it affects Boromir as well. So Boromir doesn't die in the Fellowship of the Ring. The way that we've left this story, Frodo was about to go off on his own. He was invisible with the ring and about to set off on a boat. Sam was supposed to go with Aragorn to find Frodo, but then Sam falls behind and realizes that Frodo will probably go to the boat. So he goes to the boat, sees a boat about to drift out without anyone there, and so he assumes Frodo is invisible, and he manages to catch Frodo before he goes away. So now it is Frodo and Sam on their own. They're setting off to Mordor, while Merry, Pippin, Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, and Boromir Is that everyone? They are still looking for Frodo at the end of this book. So it'll be really interesting because I can't really remember how the Two Towers really starts. But considering Tolkien wrote the 3 Lord of the Rings books as one book, this felt like such a natural and perfect stopping point for the first book, the first part, I guess. It's really scary for Frodo that after his encounter with Boromir and he runs off and he's invisible, he sees everywhere he looked he saw the signs of war. Fire glowed him into smoke, Mount Doom was burning and a great reek rising, and suddenly he felt the eye. He sees this whole landscape, he sees Middle Earth and what's to come, and it scares him so much. It scares me so much as a reader too, even though I know what's coming. And you really do feel the gravity of the situation by the end of this book. But absolutely fantastic. I remember when I first read the Lord of the Rings trilogy, I gave each book 4 stars. I just kind of rated it as one thing and I just gave it all 4 stars. I feel like I'm going to end up giving this series a 5-star after completing my read through of them, because it's just so perfect, and this is why I read. Honestly, like the imagination, the way that it's able to whisk me into a different world, the way that the words just leap off the page, and I feel so engrossed in it all. I mean, probably not the best thing I've ever read. I don't even know what the best thing I've ever read is, but it doesn't have to be. It's doing what it needs to do, and it's entertaining me. It's thrilling me. I'm loving it so much. And a 5-star doesn't have to mean it's perfect, just that it was perfect for the moment. And honestly, in my ripe old age of 31, I really needed this, and I needed this little getaway. I really want to wash my hair, but I forgot shampoo. And I'm still here until Saturday, and it's only Wednesday. I was also looking at the bookings on not just this place, but the other places in the North Shire where I am. And yeah, according to the bookings online, there is absolutely nobody else apart from me and someone in the groundkeeper's cottage. But after today, the person in the groundkeeper's cottage is checking out. So tomorrow, Thursday, I'm going to be here all on my own. There is nobody else booked in any of the other places, according to the website. There is still snow everywhere. It stopped snowing yesterday, but there is still snow everywhere. It is very thick and heavy on the ground, which is great. So I'll get some fresh air, wake up a little bit more, start the Two Towers, and I think I might do a read with me video where I'm just like reading and people can like put it on in the background, a bit like reading sprints, you know, kind of like an ambience thing, if you're into that. So I might do that while I'm reading the Two Towers. I might as well, I guess. My specialty hot chocolate for tonight as I settle down. Every day is pure comfort in the Shire House. That's what a Shire House is. That's the way of the Hobbit. Unfortunately, I've been feeling really tired today. I mean, I did wake up really early. I'm not an early riser. I'm more of a go to bed at like 5 a.m. kind of gal. But I really want to do Hobbit Day, so I'm trying to get myself used to getting up really early. And honestly, I was sitting reading and listening to the audiobook while lying in bed, you know, because I'm filming a read with me video. So I've got like 2 hours of footage of me just sitting reading Lord of the Rings. But during the bits with Treebeard, I was starting to feel really, really sleepy. And my eyes were getting heavy, and I'm like, I can't use this footage anymore because I literally fall asleep on camera. Not that the Two Towers is boring. It's not. Absolutely not. I'm just so tired. And having Treebeard as well, the scenes with Treebeard, he talks a little bit slower. The way Andy Serkis narrates him, he's got this very soothing voice. So I was really getting like lulled into sleep. So yeah, I accidentally did that, but it doesn't matter. And I have finished the first book of the Two Towers. And we do get like the Battle of Helm's Deep, which is something that I was really excited for. And while it's not as theatrical as the movie, obviously, because, you know, this isn't a movie, it was still quite dramatic. It was still quite entertaining. The only thing is, though, I haven't highlighted anything in this because I have been filming my Read With Me video, so I can't really pick apart any passages. I didn't want to be distracting for that video, but I want to go into book 2 before bed tonight, and I'll go back to highlighting and annotating. But, you know, the first part of this was really, really good. Poor Boromir dying in the first few pages. But at least he made it to the Two Towers this time. He didn't in the movies. And it was just as sad. He does die in front of Aragorn. He confesses to scaring Frodo away by being overcome by wanting the ring. Honestly, shit hit the fan from the very beginning. In fact, at the very end of the Fellowship of the Ring to this one, shit had hit the fan, everyone's broken up, the fellowship lasted 2 seconds, Merry and Pippin have been taken by orcs, and Gimli, Aragorn and Legolas are wondering what to do. Do they go after Frodo? Do they go after Merry and Pippin? So, you know, it kind of starts off that way where they're a little bit kind of aimless and lost, but they just go straight back to it. They do end up running into Gandalf again after he had died after defeating the Balrog, but he was sent back to Middle-earth. And he is now Gandalf the White, and he's now replacing Saruman since Saruman is corrupt. And what's also really interesting as well is that when Isengard falls, because obviously Treebeard, Merry, Pippin and everyone, we don't really see that, we just get a recount of that through Merry and Pippin, which is fine, honestly. I don't mind not seeing some of these events that we see in the films, because this is told in such a way that when somebody tells a story, you can still picture it, you can still visualize what it is they're telling you. But I'm surprised that they didn't end up killing Saruman. I mean, we do get the stuff with Wormtongue coming, but other than that, Saruman doesn't die, and I'm like, why did he go that way he did in the movie? In the movie, it's so abrupt at the start of The Return of the King. Unless maybe he does still die at the start of Return of the King. I don't know. The jury's still out. I can't remember what happens to him in the books, even though this is a reread. I'm sorry, but I make the best hot chocolates. And look at this mug. It's just, it's perfect. I love it so much. Love the scenes with Theoden, King of Rohan, and yeah, it kind of plays out like I kind of pictured from the movies again. Wormtongue being a little snake and getting into his ear, meeting Eowyn, and you know, she only had like a brief little bit, but I hope we get that whole scene from the movies where she kills the Witch King. I am no man. You know, I really hope we get that, but I don't know if we do. I know The Lord of the Rings doesn't really have much female presence, and I think even worse so in the books. I wanna hope we do get that. Anyway, sorry, the Two Towers is still riveting. I was feeling so tired before this update, now I feel wide awake. So I'm going to continue reading, and I will be more in depth with the second half of this. I wanted to take some time to just enjoy myself today, film myself reading for that Read With Me video. Oh my gosh, more snow must have fallen down last night that I didn't see. Look how thick that snow is. Oh my gosh. I feel like if I try and stand in that, I'll end up falling right through. Oh my god. So much snow. Ah, that's fucking cold. Now I've ruined the good snow. I might have to call defeat on the Hobbit Day idea because there is just no possible way I'm getting up at 6 a.m. I ended up sleeping in until 10 today. I really needed it. It was probably the best sleep I've had so far this trip. And honestly, the bed is comfy. Everything's comfy. It's just me as a person. It takes me a little while to get used to a place when I'm sleeping there for the first time. So it doesn't matter where I am. It usually takes me a little while. But no, I'm getting there. I'm slowly getting there. Maybe if I stayed another week, I might get up early enough to do a Hobbit Day. And we still have tomorrow too. So it is only Thursday. And I still have all of today and all of tomorrow to go. So just add a little bit of suspense. Let's see if I do end up doing it tomorrow. Can't believe it's been snowing again. And I missed it. I didn't see it. It must have happened during the night. But it only means that there's just no chance I can read outside. I was hoping to get some nice B-roll shots of me reading outside. Not gonna happen. I did finish The Two Towers last night before I went to bed. And I loved it. Again, like, there's just something about Tolkien's writing and the world that he set up that is just so inviting and so amazing to read. I mean, there are long stretches of, you know, things that you might get a little bit bored by because of characters just conversing with one another, but I love the characters, so like it's not a problem for me. So the second part of The Two Towers is book 4, and it's all about Sam and Frodo. And I do like the first half of this book because it had Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, Gandalf. We have all of the other members of the Fellowship. But the first part was sorely lacking in Frodo and Sam, who are arguably like the most important characters. They're the ones who are taking the ring to Mordor to destroy it. And I didn't realize this, but I genuinely missed them in the first half of the book. In reading the second half of this book, I'm just like, yeah, I love them. I love Frodo and Sam. I love their friendship. I think they are just an incredible pairing. I think the Lord of the Rings trilogy really does explore friendship in such an amazing way, especially the lengths that they go through for one another. I mean, especially Sam though. Especially Sam. Sam is definitely the MVP of the Lord of the Rings. So I love the fact that we finally got Smeagol/Gollum catching up with Frodo and Sam and them taking Smeagol along for the adventure. And one of the things that I thought of, like when I was watching the films and things, I always think, why doesn't he just kill Gollum? He obviously wants to kill them in their sleep. He obviously wants to take the ring for himself. Just kill him. Like, obviously this is before the whole, he can be your guide and he can take you to Mordor thing. And he does end up betraying them with Shelob later on, but at the time I was like, Frodo, why would you not kill him when you've got the chance, you know? But I think the book really explores very well the confliction with doing that, and also how important it is not to do that, considering Frodo is now in possession of the ring, and what the ring can do to you and how it can corrupt you, depending on your current state of mind and your feelings. So for instance, when Sam is saying about Gollum, he meant to, and he means to, our Warren Thrall us in our sleep, that's his plan, and Frodo was like, yeah, but he then remembers what Gandalf said about Bilbo's first meeting with Gollum in The Hobbit, and how Bilbo showed pity against Gollum, and for that reason, the ring didn't affect him the way that it usually affects other people. He didn't go down this like dark road. Whereas if he had have killed Gollum when he was defenseless, then who knows how different the story would have been. So Frodo remembers that and how important that is to himself, because Frodo doesn't want to be corrupted by this ring. He doesn't want to turn evil. What a pity Bilbo did not stab the Bell creature when he had a chance. Pity, it was pity that stayed his hand. Pity and mercy not to strike without need. So that's the conversation that was had at the very start of the Fellowship of the Ring between Gandalf and Frodo about pity, Gollum, and the effect of the ring. So it definitely meant that reading all of the passages with Sam and Frodo, I understood a lot more about the situation, because you do just think, just push Gollum off a cliff or something. And I'm so conflicted with Gollum because I know every single time, I know exactly how it unfolds for Gollum. I know that he only thinks about the ring. That's his one purpose, his precious. But there are so many times when I'm kind of conflicted myself because he seems nice. The way he gets all of the food and things for Sam later on. Oh my god, where was it? To all appearances, Gollum was genuinely distressed and anxious to help Frodo, but Sam, remembering the overheard debate, found it hard to believe that the long-submerged Smeagol had come out on top. I'm also conflicted. You know, I feel like there's like a huge part of me that is always going to sympathize with people and is always going to feel for people. Oh my god, yeah, when Sam is asking Smeagol to get food, and Smeagol asks, what's taters, precious? What's taters? Potatoes, said Sam. I love the fact that that's actually in the book. It's one of my favourite parts of the movie, and the fact that it's in this book is just so fun. Okay, before that as well, when they're going through the marshes, the dead marshes, oh my god, terrifying. It terrifies me in the movies too. The faces in the water. There are dead things, dead faces in the water, he said with horror. Dead faces. They lie in all the pools, pool faces, deep, deep under the dark water. I saw them, grim faces and evil, and noble faces and sad. Many faces proud and fair, and weeds in their silver hair, but all foul, all rotting, all dead. Oh, chills, absolute chills. I loved meeting Faramir because I love Faramir in the movies too. And we spent a bit of time with him, really enjoyed. I love the callback to Boromir, obviously because he is his brother. So the fact that Faramir finds out about Boromir being dead because his body, which was, you know, cast off by Aragorn and Gimli and Legolas in the boat, the fact that he had found that boat and it had come, you know, it makes me also feel great because I feel like Boromir came home in the end, which makes me so sad. But like, yeah, he did die, and he died nobly. A broken sword was on his knee. I saw many wounds on him. It was Boromir, my brother, dead. I knew his gear, his sword, his beloved face. It's just so sad. I didn't really make a whole lot more annotations and stuff. I keep forgetting to, because I'm just getting so sucked into it. But I did love the parts where Shelob later. Most like a spider she was, but huger than the great hunting beasts, and more terrible than they because of the evil purpose in her remorseless eyes. Great horn she had in behind her, short stalk-like neck was her huge swollen body, a vast bloated bag, swinging and sagging between her legs. Its great bulk was black, blotched with livid marks, but the belly underneath was pale and luminous and gave forth a stench. Her legs were bent with great knobbed joints high above her back, in hairs that stuck out like steel spines, and at each leg's end there was a claw. It's so exciting. I love the fact that it's Frodo and Sam together, like Gollum leads them there directly. It isn't a case of Frodo falling out with Sam just beforehand and then Sam coming to save the day at the last minute. Things do kind of play out almost the same way. Frodo does get into a death-like state and Sam thinks he's dead until some orcs say, oh, that's Shelob's way of like paralyzing the enemy kind of thing. So we have ended this part with Sam and Frodo in a bit of a pickle. So excited to read The Return of the King, to see the Sam and Frodo friendship develop. There was a really interesting part with Sam and Frodo actually when Sam is watching Frodo sleep. Frodo's face was peaceful, the marks of fear and care had left it. Not that Sam Gamgee put it that way to himself. He shook his head as if finding words useless and murmured, I love him. He's like that and sometimes it shines through somehow, but I love him, whether or no. Gay! I loved it. I loved it more the second time reading it from the very first time I read it 5 years ago. So I read The Lord of the Rings in 2019 originally. I read it March 2019 and then I joined BookTube in April 2019 and I never really mentioned or talked about The Lord of the Rings before on my channel because it was just before I joined. And even my top books of 2019, I rewatched that video because I thought, oh, obviously The Lord of the Rings would have made it, right? It didn't even make my best books of 2019 list. I'm like, what's wrong with me? So that was eye-opening. Considering they're all going to be 5 stars by the end of this, I just know it. So now, with 2 full days ahead of me still, I've got the final book, The Return of the King. Don't be fooled by the size of it. This book ends here. Like, this is all of The Return of the King, and then all of this are appendices, I believe, which I will still read. I've never actually read the appendix before, but I will read it for the first time this time. I mean, what else am I going to do? I've got nothing else to do. I can't go anywhere. It's been snowing. It's freezing outside. I really want to wash my hair, though, but I've got nothing to wash it with. I need to stop hitting my head off this goddamn chandelier. I got a headache today because of it. And I had lied down for a bit. I was like, oh god, this is not good. Because I also forgot to bring paracetamol, as you do. But it's gone now. I went in the bath. I did wash my hair, but no shampoo, so it's not going to look nice. But that's fine because I am going to make myself another cocktail. It's another cocktail night. Because I am halfway through Return of the King. I finished the first half of it. And I love it. I love it so much. However, we're going to make some drinks first. It's going to be sort of similar to the Gandalf cocktail that I made the second night I was here. It's essentially pretty much almost all the same ingredients. There is the peach schnapps, there is the vodka, there is the lemonade. However, this time instead of the Blue Wicked, we have cranberry juice. And this one is for the Frodo cocktail, I think it's called. What makes it a Frodo? I don't know. So I've got my trusty goblet, dash of vodka, splash of peach schnapps, some cranberry juice, I imagine maybe half, and the lemonade. I can't do it while holding it, I'm afraid. We'll give it a stir. This one is red, whereas the one I did of the Gandalf was blue. Yeah. That one's also quite nice. You know what? We haven't even checked out the books, the DVDs, or the games that this place has at all. So yeah, we have this Farmer Baggins Hobbit Hall stores, the Shire Middle Earth. But I really like this. I wonder if they'll notice if it goes missing. The Hobbit, of course. Ooh, what's this? Rising Phoenix by Kyle Mills. The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. But just The Two Towers? They've got the second book, but not the first or the third one. Another copy of The Hobbit. We have The Christmas Promise by Sue Moorcroft. Has anyone read this one? Is it suitable for Lord of the Rings fans? Oh, and look at that. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. Hey, I think somebody was reading this. Love me some Hunger Games. There is a basket thing down here. And I believe I saw a couple of books here too. Oh yeah, so they do have a copy of The Lord of the Rings, all of it. This is the entire thing. But like, it doesn't have its cover on. It's very old, and you can really tell. Like, wow, oh, it smells old. This is a really, really old edition of the story. 1-volume edition with the index and appendices. £8.95. Hi, that's not bad. It's cheap. We have The Light Between Oceans by M.L. Stedman. Okay. You know what? I feel like I want to put this over there and like take some of the crap from there into here. Oh, word searches for clever kids. Ooh. And some clever kids have been using it. I don't think I'm clever enough to do a word search. Tolkien's World. Oh. Oh, it's like a colouring book. Okay. Ow. Oh, whoa. Hang on. Did somebody just... This is good. Someone's coloured this in pretty good. Wow. Ooh, touch and feel cats and kittens. Oh, now I miss my cats. Oh, here's the cover. Here's the cover of the thing. I think 1987 this one was printed. Because it says reprinted 1983 twice, 1984, 1985 twice, 1986 twice, and then 1987. Reprinted 17 times. Okay, this was probably from like the 80s or the 90s. Let's just go with... Ooh. Lord of the Rings Locations Guidebook. Ooh. See, this should be in the little Hobbit little basket thing. There's a lot of brochures and things in here, so nothing else really of note. There, that's way better now. I would donate my copies, but they're too valuable. I can't be doing that. I would like to donate some copies of the Lord of the Rings, though. I do have some old editions that I could probably do. I wonder if they would accept a donation. Okay, under the TV now. This is just the welcome pack. Some jigsaws, Scrabble, Tension, don't know that one, another jigsaw. We have Harry Potter. We have, the Lord of the Rings extended DVDs, which, you know, if I finish Return of the King tonight, I'll have all day tomorrow. I might try and do a Lord of the Rings extended edition marathon or something, I don't know. Another Lord of the Rings DVD box set, they're upside down. And the wrong way around. The ship goes there. Yeah, more DVDs. I think these are the theatrical editions, so at least you've got choice. Oh, another Lord of the Rings motion picture trilogy kind of one disc thing. Okay, it is the, yeah, these must be the theatrical editions too. Okay, you've got plenty of choice there. Oh, they've got all of the Hobbit films. I would watch these now, but I am doing my extended edition watch-alongs with my patrons, and they don't have the extended editions. It just looks like it's the normal editions. Secret Life of Pets. SWAT, never seen that. Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Vanity Fair, okay. Finding Neverland. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but for some reason the cover and the back has been sliced. No idea why. Pete's Dragon, never seen it. Oh, Disturbia, gosh, that's a blast from the past. I used to like that one. Oh, The Parent Trap. Yay, I love The Parent Trap. Rush Hour 2 and Night and Day. Haven't watched that in a long time. Right, I'm going to put them in alphabetical order. So I'll put the normal films alphabetical there, and then I will get into The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit all together. So how should I do it? Should I do a chronol? No, actually, I'm going to do Lord of the Rings first, then Hobbit. Lord of the Rings all together first. And then the Hobbit trilogy. Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I wonder if they accept donations for more DVDs. If I'd known, I would have brought some. In fact, I would donate a Blu-ray player, to be honest. There's also some guest books that you can write in, so I will most likely write in here at some point too. I want to say who's been here recently. 2020, 2019... 2018. Oh my god, the 7th to the 14th of May. The 7th of May is my birthday, but this was in 2018. As with all good stories, we start at the end and end at the beginning. It's with a heavy heart that I leave this message for the day after today. I have to depart. It's just filled with so many nice messages. Ooh, 3rd of March 2023. The Hobbit is the best. My mom has made tacos and I love them. It was a long way here, but I love it. The bit that I love the most is the bedroom. I found this book on a shelf. My brother found this one. Okay. If you come here, tell me what was your best bit about. And then it cuts off. I don't think this poor young child finished their sentence. I feel like I may have stepped into a storybook. Thank you just doesn't seem enough. We gave her a very secret 60th birthday surprise stay. Can you imagine being surprised with that? House is very cozy and Hobbit-like. House is beautiful. I love finding old things, so like this was tucked in. Ooh, 7th of September 2016. Congratulations on creating such a magical place. You have captured the Hobbit feel so well. We have especially loved the attention to detail, the light fittings, the goblets, the old spoons, the sink. I think this was created in 2016, so that must have been one of the first messages. Saturday, 11th February 2023. Wow, what an amazing place to celebrate with a Hobbit-loving teenager and his siblings. After our second breakfast this morning, this place will be hard to leave. Oh my god! Wednesday the 10th of January 2024. That was like 5 days before I came. He proposed and I said yes. A perfect location with a perfect person. Thank you for building such a lovely place to stay. Soon will be Mr. and Mrs. Bradley. Oh my god, that was literally like 5 days before I came. What? Oh, congratulations. Some twat has just wrote wow on that page. Why waste an entire page? I could have wrote there. Twats. I think it was supposed to be whoever was writing on the 19th of April 2023, because it starts with wow in like the same writing. So he must have written wow there and then decided he wanted to write it there, the bastard. Wow, I really love it here. Really fun. One ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. How original. How fucking original. To be honest, I think it might have been a child who wrote that. Oh, that's such a cool drawing. Thank you. Oh, that's so cute. Okay, I'm gonna end up going through some of these at some point, I think. There's two. I think this one. Oh, wow. Wow. Look at that drawing. Okay, the 24th of January 2016 seems to be the first thing in here. Loved our stay, we hope to return. I feel like these might be the first people to stay if it was the first one written in 24th of January 2016. I hope they did manage to come back. I hope they're doing well. The only bad thing about this break is that we have to leave. Wow! 20th of January 2017, drawn by Olivia Craft. They've got an Instagram. Okay, nice, nice. That is so good. That is so good. I should probably send them a message being like, oh my god, I'm staying at the Shire House right now. Look what I found. Okay, I'm going to go through some more of them, but I do have an update on the Return of the King. There's been no sign of Sam or Frodo in the first half in what's called Book 5 of The Lord of the Rings. Not that I'm complaining, because I love being at Minas Tirith, and I love the way that it's described as well. But the fashion of Minas Tirith was that it was built on 7 levels, each delved into the hill, and about each was set a wall, and in each wall was a gate. But the gates were not set in a line. And you know, there's just like this incredible imagination behind the formatting and the setting of Minas Tirith. I just love the way it looks. Pippin does get taken there by Gandalf, and he ends up meeting Denethor. I hate Denethor so much. He is just as terrible in the book as he is in the film. I mean, fantastically acted. But like, oh my god, he's so horrible. He's so nasty. Especially to his son Faramir. That whole stuff with the pyre and setting him alight and pretty much nearly killing his own son, that still happens in this. And not in the exact same way, because he doesn't run out of the room and fall off a massive cliff. But he does leap upon a table, and standing there wreathed in fire and smoke, he took up the staff and his stewardship that lay at his feet and broke it on his knee, casting the pieces into the blaze, and bowed and laid himself on the table. So like, he kind of just takes a more peaceful approach to dying in this one by just like lying down. Whereas, you know, like he does fall off a cliff in the movie. But the whole pyre sequence was very exciting. Pippin raced into Gandalf. He has taken Faramir and he says we are all to burn and he will not wait. And they are to make a pyre and to burn him on it, and Faramir as well. There is just such a certain level of intensity with that. My absolute favourite part of the first half of this book though, I was so worried that that scene with Éowyn didn't happen in the book. But it does, it happens, and I was so excited. The battle at the Pelennor Fields. The Witch King of Angmar says, "Hinder me, thou fool, no living man may hinder me." Then Merry heard of all the sounds of that hour the strangest. It seemed that Derenhelm laughed, and the clear voice was like the ring of steel. "But no living man am I, you look upon a woman. Éowyn I am, Aemon's daughter. You stand between me and my lord and kin. Begone, if you be not deathless. For living or dark undead, I will smite you if you touch him." I mean, it's still really impactful in the book. A good few paragraphs before she actually kills him, and Éowyn fell forward upon her fallen foe. So it does take a full-on page to get to that point where he ends up dying. But also, she doesn't say Theoden. It's actually Merry who Theoden talks to before he dies. It's Merry he says, my body is broken too. Éowyn is like knocked out essentially. She's passed out from the pain. It looks like she's dead. But no, I thought that was like really interesting. I love the moment between Éowyn and her father in the film. But you know what? The film's the film. I need to stop comparing the two. And also, like, the whole Siege of Gondor was so exciting. The enemy was flinging into the city all the heads of those who had fallen fighting at Osgiliath or on the Ramis or in the fields. So, like, they start off the fight by throwing heads over the wall and at the enemy. That is really, really intense. The last chapter I read was The Black Gate Opens, and this is when Gandalf and everyone comes to the Black Gate. The thing that is the mouth of Sauron comes and kind of shows everyone the short sword that Sam had carried, an extra grey cloak with an elven brooch, and last the coat of mithril mail that Frodo had worn. So it looks like they're in danger. And what's really effective about this is that we haven't seen Frodo or Sam since the very end of the Two Towers. So we don't actually know what's going on right now. We don't know if they're in danger, which it seems like if they have their stuff, because we left them in a really sticky spot, and we, again, have no idea what's happened next. So I feel like that part is kind of more impactful in the book than the movie, because in the movie we know that Frodo and Sam are literally about to enter Mount Doom at this moment. Whereas in the book, we don't know what's happened with them. The messenger says these are the terms, withdraw at once. And Gandalf is like, well, where's the prisoner? Where's Frodo and Sam, huh? For your terms, we reject them utterly. They don't take his head off. Aragorn doesn't take his head off or anything. They don't really think that Frodo is dead. So it's not as like much of an emotional beat, but still so rife with tension. Also, it looks like Pippin is dying at the end of the chapter. I obviously don't think he does. This is my tale and it is ended now. Goodbye. And his soul fled far away and his eyes saw no more. The amount of times that it kind of... Because we just had Éowyn also look like she died, but she didn't. In Faramir as well, we've had a lot of almost deaths, but not quite. So I don't think Pippin is dying anytime soon. I genuinely can't remember his fate in the books. I want 9 chapters left and then I'm done. Well, I mean, I'll read the appendices as well, but like, technically I'll be done. Oh god, I kind of don't want it to end. I do not approve of washing your hair without shampoo. Ugh, I feel like I just sabotaged myself coming here, to be honest. Ah, my coffee, where's my coffee? Got my coffee ready for the final book update of this video, because yes, I did finish The Return of the King last night. I think it was around about 1 a.m. I seem to do that. I seem to read the rest of the book when it's like really, really late. I love reading when it's really late. I think that's my favorite time to read. So even though I had all day yesterday pretty much to read, and all day I read, I kind of keep having like a little break in the middle where I just like lie down for a bit of a nap and then come back swinging about like 8 p.m. to finish off reading the books. And yeah, that's what I did. And I bloody love this. Yet again, I think I was a little bit surprised by the fact that we have the resolution with the ring, the third chapter in on the second half of this book, and there's still quite a lot left to go. There's still like 6 chapters after that, but they are 6 long chapters. A lot of resolution to different things, characters getting their own kind of endings, which is so nice, and I loved seeing the different kind of ends for a lot of people. I was really intrigued by some characters' fates that I had totally forgotten about, especially Saruman. Oh my god. And what happened to the Shire too? Oh my god. Things that they just did not include in the movie. I'll put this down for a second. It's still too hot. So the last I left you guys was the rest of the gang were at the Black Gates, and we didn't know what had happened to Sam or Frodo just yet. And they were still in the Tower of Cirith Ungol at the start of that part, and the Mouth of Sauron left their fates a little bit unknown. But we get straight back into it. Sam, oh my gosh, the actual main character of the story. His love for Frodo rose above all other thoughts, and forgetting his peril, he cried aloud, "I'm coming, Mr. Frodo." I love the fact that Sam actually uses the ring in this. I don't think he used the ring in the movies at all, but he actually uses the ring. That was so intriguing to me. Can you imagine Sam as the ruler of the One Ring? Like, what would that do to him? Because Sam is just the purest being in the world. So it's like, maybe Sam should keep it. He had only to put on the ring and claim it for his own, and all this could be. And he's talking about the Shire and a garden of flowers and bringing about fruit and stuff. And I mean, yes, the One Ring would eventually corrupt Sam, but he has these like really nice ideas for change. And I'm like, give him his due. In that hour of trial, it was the love of his master that helped most to hold him firm. Honestly, his love for Frodo, it just seeps through. It's one of the biggest themes of the second half of The Return of the King. And I honestly do love seeing platonic love. I love seeing friendship and like friend love so like intensely. I think this is the best version of friend love I've ever read in anything ever. So yeah, if it wasn't for Sam, Frodo would have just been absolutely left here. But you can really feel the mental anguish this is taking on Frodo. Am I still dreaming? There was an orc with a whip and then it turns into Sam. Frodo is like dreaming of this orc that turns into Sam, whipping him. I mean, kinky, but like still, that's traumatic. But you can really feel that life will never be the same for Frodo ever again from this point on. As much as I really want Frodo to live this long and lustrous life in the Shire, I feel like ever since getting the ring, it's been fated that he wouldn't. And I think this does a really good job at exploring like PTSD and trauma after what he's been through and how he can't just go back into easy normal life in the Shire because of that. So I thought that was like really well done. Oh my god, I love the fact that the movie took so much of this, like almost word for word. This is Sam. I said I'd carry him if it broke my back, he muttered, and I will. Come, Mr. Frodo, he cried. I can't carry you for you, but I can carry you and it as well. Oh my god, I just, you know, like how much pride you feel during this chapter, how much happiness you feel. Like it's almost coming to an end. Their trials and tribulations, the quest that they've been on this entire time, it's about to come to an end. And we have this incredible duo, this fantastic dynamic between Sam and Frodo, and how much they've really helped one another. I mean, Sam more than Frodo, but like, you know, I mean, poor Frodo though. I do feel bad for Frodo because he has carried it this entire time. Obviously, it's been weighing down on him so much, and you feel that through the narrative, but you just can't help but marvel at Sam. And the lines he gives as well, like, you need a friend like Sam. You need someone that loyal and trusting as Sam. Oh, he's the best. He's probably like one of my favourite characters of all time, of anything ever. And then they reach the mountain and it's just like, oh god. It's like, this is so iconic. It's so iconic. And then when Frodo says, I will not do this deed, the ring is mine, just as he's on the precipice of throwing it down the fucking thing, just like, come on Frodo, just throw it. But no, the ring is mine. And then Gollum comes and they have their little fight. Gollum's white fangs gleamed and then snapped as they bit. Frodo gave a cry and there he was falling upon his knees at the chasm's edge. You know, like the whole finger biting thing. And then Gollum, he stepped too far, toppled, wavered for a moment on the brink, and then with a shriek he fell. Out of the depths came his last wail, precious, and he was gone. I feel a bit sad about that though, because like Gollum was a little shit. He really was. But like, can you imagine if like the ring had, you know, destroyed as it does here? If that got destroyed, would Gollum have changed completely? Like, would he have gone back to being regular? Or was it just the fact that the ring existed that really drove Gollum to the edge? So when the ring gets destroyed, would he have been able to move on? Or was his fate so intricately linked to this ring that there was going to be no escape? I mean, we saw what it does to Frodo and his mental turmoil, and he didn't have it as long as Gollum did. Or as long as Bilbo did, to be honest. So maybe this was the only end for Gollum, which is kind of sad when you think about it. I love the fact that you can have this opinion on Gollum. Gollum may have something yet to do, but for him, Sam, I could not have destroyed the ring. The quest would have been in vain, even at the bitter end, so let us forgive him. But the quest is achieved, and now all is over. So yeah, it feels like this was the only choice for Gollum. Like, his fate was to die with the ring. But it came in handy in the end, even if he did bite off Frodo's finger. And then when they all get like reunited with like Merry and Pippin and Aragorn and Gandalf, when Strider, aka Aragorn, bows before them, praise them with great praise. Frodo with the 9 fingers and the Ring of Doom. I mean, why? Why draw attention to the fact that Frodo is now missing a finger? I do not know. It's not really a great name. Frodo with the 9 fingers? Like, okay. Sure, he just spent 3 books. Oh shit. Oh crap, I spilled my coffee. Just leaving my mark on the place before I leave tomorrow. Yeah, like he spent this entire time getting to this mountain, abused by orcs and all this, that and the other, and the thing that they're naming him after is the fact that he's now missing a finger. Gimli and Legolas. Well, if it isn't Pippin and Mr. Merry, oh god, like, I was just beaming at this point. I was just so overwhelmingly happy by the fact that we've achieved what we set out to do. Everyone is pretty much reunited. R.I.P. Boromir. And I just freaking love it. Oh, Faramir and Éowyn as well. Éowyn playing hard to get. It would ease my heart if while the sun yet shines, I could see you still. And then Éowyn says, alas, not me, Lord. I'm like, Éowyn, why are you playing hard to get with Faramir? Just get with him. You know what? That would add a little bit of sexual tension between them. And I do enjoy the fact that they do end up falling for one another. Or because I do not go and you desire still to be near me, Faramir says. And then she says, I wished to be loved by another. You desire to have the love of the Lord Aragorn. Well, you know what? Faramir is so understanding. He still tells her that he loves her, and she does end up falling in love with him. It felt more romantic reading it than actually recapping that. It almost sounds like, oh, Faramir was just second best, so she just got with him because she couldn't get with Aragorn. That's the way it sounds like as I'm recapping it, but it feels more romantic in the book, I promise. Okay, Saruman. We have some talk of Saruman and what might have happened to him after. And they randomly come across him as they're all going back to the Shire. It's a long journey. But yeah, they overtake an old man leaning on his staff. Well, Saruman, where are you going, said Gandalf. Honestly, it does seem like a beggar now. He says, would you not give a pipeful to a beggar, would you? And Merry says, you can have what I've got left. I mean, you did get it from Isengard. And Saruman's like, mine, yes, and dearly bought. Well, it will serve you right when you come home. If you find things less good in the South Farthing than you would like, long may your land be short of leaf. Then Merry says, in that case, I will have my pouch back. I love that. That made me remember that something bad happened to the Shire, which they didn't do in the movies. But I totally forgot that it happened until like this moment. I was like, oh shit, actually, doesn't something happen there? But again, I still forgot most of it. Chapter 8, The Scouring of the Shire, is kind of heartbreaking. We go through so much already in the story that we get to this point, I'm just like, geez, there's more. Many of the houses that they had known were missing. Some seem to have been burned down. The pleasant row of old hobbit halls in the bank on the north side of the pool were deserted, and their little gardens that used to run down bright to the water's edge were rank with weeds. And it's so heartbreaking to see everything that the hobbits have been through to come home, you know, and say it the way it has. But one of the best scenes too is when Saruman shows up and he is like, well, you wrecked my home, Isengard, so I'm wrecking yours. So this was all Saruman's doing. Still, I've already done much that you will find it hard to mend or undo in your lives, and it will be pleasant to think of that and set it against my injuries. And then Frodo's like, well, if that is what you find pleasure in, I pity you. Oh my god. I love when people ruin other people's revenge by being better than them, like better people. And even Saruman says, yeah, you have robbed my revenge of sweetness. Like, yeah, what did you expect? These hobbits are much better than you are. Obviously, they're devastated by it all. It reminds me of, you know, The Grinch, when the Grinch steals everyone's presents and then he's looking down on Whoville and they're all singing. And it's like, what the... You know what I mean? It kind of reminds me a little bit of that. Frodo is so wise though, it is useless to meet revenge with revenge. It will heal nothing. Go, Saruman, by the speediest way. As Saruman passed close to Frodo, an eye flashed in his hand and he stabbed swiftly. Do not kill him even now, Frodo says. He's fallen and his cure is beyond us, but I would still spare him in the hope that he may find it. What does Saruman do? You know, it's like, I love it. I love it. I feel like because Wormtongue is also there, Frodo says a lot of Gollum and Wormtongue, because he even gives Wormtongue an out He's like, Wormtongue, if you want to stay and recover, then feel free to do so. But obviously Wormtongue doesn't do that. Saruman says that Wormtongue killed their chief. Poor little fellow, your nice little boss, didn't you, Worm? Stabbed him in his sleep, I believe. And then Wormtongue's like, you told me to. You made me do it. And Saruman's like, you do what Sharky says always, don't you, Worm? He kicked Wormtongue in the face. And then suddenly Wormtongue rose up, grabbed a hidden knife, and then with a snarl like a dog, he sprung on Saruman's back, jerked his head back, cut his throat, and with a yell ran off down the lane. Before Frodo could recover or speak a word, 3 hobbit bows twanged and Wormtongue fell dead. I feel like that was a much better death scene than in the movies, because you do feel some pity for Wormtongue, and even Saruman to some extent. And then that happens, like, oh god, it's so brutal. It is so brutal. And to happen in the Shire also, what a juxtaposition between something so horrific happening in somewhere that is usually so lush and peaceful. But that is like the end of the conflict, really. After this, it goes through like Frodo writing the Lord of the Rings and his time in the Shire and how he can't really, stay there. It is gone forever, he said, now all is dark and empty. It's like PTSD he's talking. I am wounded, he answered. Wounded, it will never really heal. But then he got up and the turn seemed to pass and he was quite himself the next day. It just can't fit in again. Sam's getting married, he's having kids, and like it's so amazing for him. And then we get to like the very end where Frodo says goodbye to his friends. And he says, Bilbo, I think I am quite ready to go on another adventure. Are you coming? Yes, I am coming, said Frodo. Where you go, master? Cried Sam. To the Haven, Sam, said Frodo. And I can't come? No, Sam, not yet anyway. I was like, this is so sad. I was like genuinely tearing up when I read this. And even just like when like the narrative says, the Third Age was over and the days of the rings were past and an end was come of the story and the song of those times. I'm like, I hate endings so much. They make me so upset. Like, why do things have to end? Like now they're all kind of going off and... It's just sad. It's so sad. And then Merry and Pippin come. You tried to give us a slip once before and failed, Frodo. This time you have nearly succeeded, but you have failed again. It was not Sam, though, that gave you away this time, but Gandalf himself. So comes the end of our fellowship in Middle-earth. Oh, I just like, why? I kind of just want to go back to the start and like read it from the beginning again. I love it. I love it so much. Like, these are... Well, I guess not perfect, but they're perfect for me. This is why I love reading so much. Entertaining stories, imagination, endless possibilities, friendship, amazing characters, amazing plot, quests, it's just perfect to me. I love these so, so much. And I had the best time reading them. Oh, let's do it again. Let's start from the... No, I don't know what else to say about the books other than they're just freaking awesome. Honestly, they're just freaking awesome. Okay, now I'm going to stand at the Hobbit hole door. I do this every single day. I open the door and I stand there for about 5-10 minutes just looking out at the fields. Just standing there, just taking it all in and just feeling like I myself am a hobbit. The story's not over yet. I guess I will be starting from the beginning again because now I'm going to spend today watching the extended editions of Lord of the Rings since it's my last full day here. This is going to be my setup for the movie. I've moved some things around. Well, movies, because I'll most likely end up watching all 3. I was really worried that the DVD wasn't going to play. I had to like blow on it and do all the things that we used to do back in the 2000s when I had a DVD player. But alas, it works, and I'm so ready for the Fellowship of the Ring Extended. I have rolled the blanket in, I've moved the sofa. It's a little bit messy right now because I've done that. But yeah, I've got my little table, I'll get the snacks out. I do have some mini carrots to snack on, or as I like to call them, Frodo's fingers. When I checked in as well, there was already this salted caramel cake here that the owners had like left on the table as a sort of like welcome gift, as well as some Oreo twists and some rainbow cookies. I can't think of a better way to spend my final day in the Shire House.
have any friends. Nobody likes you.
Me to me. The Battle of Helm's Deep is about to happen, so I'm cracking open the wine. I discovered in the Lord of the Rings books that Gandalf is a red wine drinker, so this one's for him. Yeah, really gonna need this. Cheers.
So it begins.
No man can kill me.
I am no man.
Yes! Yes!
What about side by side with a friend? I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you.
For Frodo.
And so comes the end of my journey here in the Shire. I am heartbroken that I will be leaving very, very soon. I've had the best week just immersing myself in J.R.R. Tolkien's world, in The Hobbit, in The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, The Return of the King. It's just been one incredibly magical week, and I could not recommend coming here enough. So I want to say farewell, finish my morning coffee, and thank everyone watching this. Thank you so much, I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much to my patrons and my channel members for supporting my channel and making stuff like this possible. I really do appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Don't forget to leave this video a like if you enjoy it, and subscribe if you haven't already for more. And hopefully I will see you in the next video. Farewell. Oh my god. Hey, yeah? Yeah. I thought I was the only one here. I haven't seen anyone else. You're the first people I've seen. Sorry, I'll potter on.
Fly, you fools!
I can't see shit. Fuck me.